I get a lot of emails and people saying things like you're the time traveler, you're a prophet. And at first it's kind of like shucks, geez, thank you. And then you start to think about some of those things. My wife said to me the other night, and this is not meant to, I'm not trying to glorify myself in any way. She says, "What if you are a prophet?" And I'm like, "Come on." And I'm just simply saying it's really almost frightening to me because I've spent, to your point, I've done 6,000 YouTube videos where everything I've said has been documented for the world to see. And a lot of it has happened. And I'm just a dude who maybe looks past the conventional wisdom of things and looks a little bit deeper and reads and digs and tries to, if I have one strength, it's seeing so many things and not looking at them as independent, looking at all of these things as part of a bigger picture. And then for me, it becomes much more clear. I thank you for saying that. And it is weird. And I don't know how there's any way of even saying without sounding conceited. I'm not. It freaks me out
Well,
sometimes
you're
how,
not like some of those prophets that or a person that you don't want to go there because it's stupid. But if you're
no,
really
I'm
smart, you're
not.
really in game. What the thing is that you're really smart, you're really in tune to your industry, and you were seeing all these things and communicating it, and it was true. It was right. You were just right because you were communicating what the truth was, and
Well,
the truth laid out this path. But it's so
let me give
freaking
you a
weird.
point. Let me give you an example because a lot of the stuff that I publicly said had nothing to do with my industry, and a lot of people thought I was nuts.
Okay,
I don't
let's.
know how many years ago in 2019 I talked about the Belt Road Initiative, right? And that was kind of what got me down this path of de-dollarization. And when you look at the Belt Road Initiative, it's 75% of human population. It's largely underdeveloped countries that are resource rich that are now being connected through with China's effort to bridge all of this through bridges and roads and
Yep.
and railroads and maritime channels and whatnot. The significance of it all of these years later is that the BRICS bridge program that you and I have talked about, MBridge, which is the cross-border payment system, that everyone just focused on it being the BRICS. And I brought up the BRICS in 2019 before anyone was talking about it. And the pushback has always been the BRICS aren't big enough. They're not, no one trusts them, blah, blah, blah. And I always said gold would be the anchor to that. Well, it is appearing very much so that gold is becoming the anchor to that system. I'm going to get to the Belt Road part in a second, because we've now seen a couple things that are putting all of this together. China has internationalized their yuan by now making it immediately convertible into gold like that without having to convert to dollars first, as they always have. Number two, the Shanghai Metals Exchange is building and has already constructed one, and now the second one, vaults throughout the Belt Road Initiative. The first one they built, however, was in Hong Kong, the duty-free zone, where if you are a country who trades with China over MBridge, which I talked about years ago, the cross-border system free from SWIFT, you have the ability to take those digital yuan and immediately send them back and receive gold for it and take possession of it. Well, guess where the second vault is being built? Right now in Saudi Arabia, who was a fifth member of MBridge. And so all of these things are beginning to connect. And they said, we're going to build these vaults all through the Belt Road. Well, what does that mean? Here's what it means. The significance of what I saw, and maybe I didn't see it this way, but it's all coming true, is that the Russian minister, Sergei Lavrov, has publicly said we are now opening up not only the MBridge, which is central bank to central bank trading, but also BRICS Pay, which is retail, business to business, or consumer to business. Right now, it's all being integrated and opened up through the Belt Road. So you have 75% of human population using a new system that is free from dollar intervention that will settle imbalances in gold. They will trade with one another in their local currencies over the MBridge. Now, this may turn out to be the biggest development of all of our lives, as it will challenge the hegemony of the United States in a way nothing ever has.
Well, but
Because
you
not
have to
only,
go ahead.
I would say, not only are all the trades and all of the infrastructure and everything being done in local currencies, but instead of putting excess reserves into treasuries the way that most of the world has done for all of these years, it's now going into gold. So one replaces the settlement status, one replaces the reserve status. when you add it into BRICS and all of the countries that have integrated into this new platform alone, right now, you're talking the 90% of human population that is moving away from settlement and reserve status of the dollar and the treasury. It's real, and it's happening right in front of us.
What's real, and I would push back a little bit and say this is your industry, and the people who only see gold as mining and, I don't know, narrow-minded, gold is a big part of the global economic structure. And what you saw is you saw that, and I think that's what sets you apart. You're more of a global finance guy versus just a gold guy, because gold really is about global finance. And when you look at BRICS and you look at what's happening with the global reset, you can't ignore the fact that the most powerful people involved in the World Economic Forum and the IMF and the central banks, all of these guys are involved with BRICS. I don't know about all of them with BRICS, but they're all involved with this global reset. And a large number of them that are both involved with the World Economic Forum are also involved with BRICS. You can't ignore that if you're going to be paying attention to the global financial system. And gold is a big part of the global financial system. The problem is that so many people in your industry, just like every industry, can't see what they're really part of.
Yeah, and to me, it's the why that matters. The what is the irrelevant part. A lot of people maybe won't even listen to me because I own a gold company, and I've tried to really hard to lead by example, that say you can be a good person, you can provide a service, you can work really hard to help people and still run a business. Yeah, everyone wants to make money, but what have you done to contribute? And I put my name out there and have for 6 years now to an immense, the way you do. You understand the benefits and the drawbacks of being out there the way that you and I are, and I appreciate it. And I'll simply say this to you: I've never ever been more convinced in my career that we have entered a new monetary system. We're there right now with the passage of the Genius Act. Tether, if you look at Bo Hines, he's the CEO of USA Tether. I believe that's his last name. He was Trump's crypto czar until August. Every single time we move money from now on, once it's implemented, we're very close to it being finally implemented, it will be backed by stablecoin, and it'll just like that, it will settle. So it'll be like Venmo or Zelle whenever you're paying anyone. But anytime you do any type of movement of dollars anywhere in the world that's using dollars, they will be backed by stablecoins issued by companies like USA Tether. Now, USA Tether was just at the Beaver Creek Mining Summit recently, the biggest mining summit here in the United States. They've already bought over 8 billion in gold held in Swiss vaults. And when we use these stable coins, there's interest attached to the treasuries that are backing it. But when you spend the stablecoin, the stablecoin gets burned. The interest in the treasury doesn't. What they are by law have to do is buy more treasuries to push interest rates down, and they're buying gold and Bitcoin. Now, they're buying gold to devalue the dollar. That's what it's ultimately about, and to build the asset base of gold, but to devalue the dollar to make exports more reasonable, ultimately. And the Russian finance minister just came out and said they're going to screw the world. They're going to put all the debt into the cloud and do it that way. Well, what he's saying is they're going to use the synthetic demand created through the stablecoin issuance of moving money around and put part of the proceeds into Bitcoin to push Bitcoin way up to pay off the debt. Now, does that mean a rug pull is imminent? Maybe. I don't know. And maybe some people would disagree with me. I'm just saying I believe that's what they have intentions of doing,
so
devaluing the dollar and paying off the debt.
You think Bitcoin and gold are going to both skyrocket?
I do. The point of it is that I could make an argument, and I don't want to fight with the Bitcoin crowd because I'm not a Bitcoin guy, but I think we are stronger together than apart. I could see gold going to a level that no one ever thinks possible and never coming back down, because the BRICS are going to use it for a common settlement feature where they settle imbalances between local currencies and trade imbalances in gold through all of these multi-jurisdictional vaults using a digital system. Bitcoin, on the other hand, I think they're going to let it go higher than people think possible and use it to pay off the debt. Now, does that mean a rug pull? Maybe. Does that mean what is the future for it? Don't know. I
And
think
what's the
one is
future for
lasting.
XRP and some of these other ones, XLM?
I don't know. I'm not the right guy to ask. And I just think that the one common denominator between the gold community and those, you'll find it's interesting. The Bitcoin people don't usually get along with the XRP people and vice versa. The one thing that I've tried to do is bridge the communities. I speak at the XRP convention. I've had Natalie Burnell, who's Bitcoin, and Mark Moss on my show, Bitcoin. And I've been on lots of shows where it's XRP only and Bitcoin only, not because that's what I believe in, but because I think we all see the world in a very similar light, that there are big problems here in the United States with monetary and fiscal problems and irresponsibility and bigger problems geopolitically, morally, socially, all the stuff we've talked about and covered. And the thing that I think is silly is mutual exclusivity. Someone once said to me, who I valued his opinion a lot. He said to me, this was a man named Jean-Pierre Louvet, and it had to do with a Swiss investment program I was in. And after talking with him for a while, I said, Jean-Pierre, there's virtually no diversification in this whatsoever, And he says, Andy, diversification was a tool created out of fiduciary responsibility by financial advisories. He said, if you are a diversified individual, you are the best of the worst or the worst of the best. Very often things don't move in harmony. He said the way to win, and Richard Russell said the same thing, is to identify the primary trend. Now, in Minnesota, the primary trend of the Mississippi River starts up in northern Minnesota and flows south. So he would say you jump in with both feet, plug your nose and go underwater. You go in hard, but you diversify within the primary trend. You can be diversified into precious metals, Bitcoin, altcoins, farmland, agricultural ETFs, oil and gas. You are broadly diversified within a primary trend. And so what I'm saying is that we're more alike than we are apart, and to be divisive with one another instead of cooperative and listening to other people's viewpoints is something that is lost in this country. And you never grow if you never listen to other viewpoints. So I'm not at odds with them, but I don't follow it the way I should, just trying to bridge the gap a little bit and say, hey, if you make some profits with these cryptos, Bitcoin or XRP, consider taking some off the table and putting it in 6,000-year-old wealth instead of hedging all of your bets on technology that's barely a teenager. Now, people want to invest in XRP and Bitcoin, go for it.